There are four basic ways in which I've been finding that the pick list comes up for a selection when I'm not looking for it. And I'm sure it's happening to other people as well. Basically, the first way is because these stomp buttons are kind of small as opposed to the larger ones. So when they go to hit that, it's bringing up the pick list. I have to back out and then try again. And this can happen over and over until I get really precise about my touch, and then it turns on the pedal. Second way this can happen is if I'm going to adjust a control on one of these, and I just touch the control and accidentally back off. Maybe I thought I was going to move it, but I didn't. Backed off and again brought up the pick list. Have to keep backing out of that. Third way is less common, but sometimes I just tap. I just accidentally hit some part of my hand, hits one of these pedals and brings up one of the pick lists. And a fourth way is a little harder to execute, but see if I can do it. Sometimes I'm trying to double tap and take a little bit too long, and it does bring up the pick list. See, 1, 2, and it brought up the pick list. So 4 different ways to bring it up when you're not looking for it. Solution to this problem is have a press and hold. Press and hold your finger there. That's going to be much less likely to accidentally bring up the pick list on any of those 4 different combinations. Another thing, it's a side issue, but these areas here, even if we fix that problem by changing it to press and hold instead of a simple press like that, these buttons are too small. These little ones here. So what I would suggest is enlarge the active area, even keeping the same visual, but so if I hit it there, it's still going to turn it on or off. It's very annoying to have to go hit here and not only bring up the pick list, but the fact that it doesn't go on or off means you have to be extremely precise with these types of controls. If you expand it to this full size, then it's going to be much easier to turn on and off. Another problem here that could be fixed is if there's no way to see what that setting is. Let's say the time setting. The only way I can see it is if I touch and start to maybe turn it, then I can see it. But what would be cool is if we do get rid of the single tap to bring up the pick list, now you can tap this just one time. Instead of bringing up the pick list like that, it would bring up what we see here, which is the time parameter. Same for all these. If you just touched it and then released it just like a regular touch, it should just show you briefly what that parameter is. So that would be a function, an additional functionality you would gain by changing the pick list to a press and hold to bring that up. Okay, so there's the 3 things. The 4 different ways to accidentally bring up the pick list needs to be fixed, I think, and then we've got, if we expand the active areas here, that would be kind of nice to be able to turn those units on and off without having to press directly on these tiny little buttons. And the third thing is just a nice little add-on that we could see what the control is. Now I just moved it a little bit. In fact, you have to move it in order to even see that most of the time. But what would be nice is if I just want to check out what is that volume level, I just touch it once. Instead of bringing up the pick list, it shows me the volume level. So those are just a bunch of different things that have to do with the same kind of issues, all centered around the single tap being, I think, inappropriate for bringing up the pick list.